we're live! Good morning, everyone. Happy Family Day, the most important holiday of the year. Happy post-Valentine's Day, which means discounted chocolate. There's a lot going on, and we have Cory! So we're just going to wait for him to come on because there's a lovely delay in Instagram. I gotta make up a theme song. That's going to be this week's project. Da da da, window chats, da 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 da. It's in the works. Yeah. That was an attempt. And this is the part where I get to talk to myself and get very weird. Hi, Carrie. Oh, my hubby. Good. He's joining. And let's see if I can invite Cory as I talk to myself all the time. Da, 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 da. Hope everyone else is doing great this morning. For some reason, 10 a.m. was just like, oh, this is early. Because this is what happens when you're in quarantine all the time. Oh, hi, Carrie. Oh, yes, there's a delay. Oh, I like these new names. Oh, shout out to Tanner. Hello. We auditioned for something together. It was a lovely audition. Oh, yay. Okay, he's joining. And now we invite him. Okay, here we go. It's happening. We click on his name and we send. Oh, waiting. Oh, okay.
Hello.
Oh, you're in the booth. Hi.
You're in the booth. That's right.
Oh, you're going to get good sound quality. I did not go in my booth because I have to stay true to my window chat. So.
Makes sense.
Window.
Here, let me take this fake microphone that's not working off. There we go.
You got like a really cool hat going on. Very gangster. I like it.
Called the COVID hair, my friend. When you have short hair
oh,
for
wait,
usual and then you can't get a haircut for months, it looks gangly and unwieldy. Oh, my goodness. Let's mess with some lights here. Ooh. There we go.
I know, that's the thing. I was very, very nice. Would you like to add a filter? I think
I have hit my technological limit for the day on this one.
I don't add filters, but I think, actually, I don't know how to tell other people to. Yeah, we're you know what? We're here. We're just going to talk. Our faces are going to look a little off, but it's fine because it's all about just chatting.
Perfect.
So, how you doing?
I'm doing okay. I got my coffee. Let me just bring it up. There we go.
How do you take your coffee?
I like it black, but if it's too hot, I'll just do a pinch of milk just to cool it down.
What kind of milk?
Just regular milk.
Whoa. That's okay. There's a lot of variety of milk. I'm just
saying.
I
got nothing against the variety of milk. It just doesn't do anything for me. Yeah.
Okay. I guess you're not a vegan. That's trendy now, but that's.
I would love to be a vegan. I don't think I could manage it very well. My wife is a vegetarian, so we have a mostly vegetarian house. But I enjoy meat every once in a while.
There you go.
It's more like the cheeses and whatnot. I would have a terrible time avoiding that.
Cheese is good. I agree.
Yeah.
This is the chats. This is the discussions we have. And now I'm thinking about I should have had a coffee, but I didn't bring coffee. Oh. And my husband is in the other room, hopefully hearing this conversation. And hey, hubby, it's fine. But yes, thank you for joining me. I'm so excited. I reached out to you. I'm like, I don't know if he'll do this thing because I saw you do a little chat with the actor. I saw Crystal. I love Crystal. She's awesome.
She is.
And it's just the whole thing. And I'm like, I love talking to this guy. I don't know. And you're like, yes, I'll do it. I'm like, oh my God, cool.
For sure.
And I got so many, oh, Cory's awesome. I'm like, okay, he's okay. Let's calm down, whatever. But everyone was very excited.
Well, hello, everybody. How are you?
So this is your first. So sometimes people say, can you see the comments at the bottom sometimes? Or like when someone's joined? Okay.
Augusto Martinez Benitez has joined. Jim_Canali. Is it Canal? We'll find out. They've joined, but I can't see any comments.
Okay. If there are comments, they will be there. And you're good. And now you know how to do an Instagram Live. It's simple.
I'm such a pro at this.
You might start your own spin-off of like booth chats with Cory.
Maybe not. You know what? I leave this to the people who are really good at it, like yourself.
Yeah, I'm a pro. But yes, what was I going to chat about? There's so many things that I wanted to chat about with you, and I'm like, oh God, I don't know where to start. So I only know you as a theater director, And then
Yep.
I realized you do every single voice. That it was nuts. Like you just voice everything. Like what? So like when did you become a voice actor? When did you know your voice is like you could make money doing stuff like that?
Well, okay, so it's a bit of an interesting one in the fact that I did not know. Like, I'll be honest with you, I didn't even know you could really do voice acting as a career. I just kind of imagined it was one room in, LA where everyone did their cartoons. So it was like the same 10 people over and over again. And then I just kind of stumbled into it. I went to theater school. I've always wanted to be an actor. And I thought I'd be, an on-camera actor. I really like that. And then I really love theater, so I thought I'd do both. So I went to theater school, and then after that, I was meeting with an agent, and I had nothing on my resume at that point. I was just a theater grad, and this agent repped a lot of bigger Canadian actors, and so she threw me over to the voice department and said, well, they'll filter you out. If you're not any good, the voice department will filter you out. And I don't think the voice department took that too kindly either, because that's not their job. So the voice agent was extremely lovely. Didn't, let any of that bounce onto me. I don't think she was so pleased that was where she was being asked to, what she was being asked to do, because, she has her own roster. There's no reason to do that. Anyways, we went into the booth, read a whole bunch of commercials, and then she said, can you do any voices? And I said, well, I do a bunch of impressions. And I remember going, it's cool, but nobody cares about impressions. They only care about original characters. And I said, great. Well, I do really bad impressions, so they sound like original characters. So we went in the booth, and we did a whole bunch of accents, did some bad impressions. And after that, I came out and she said, well, I don't care if you hire or if you sign him or not, but I will. And so I got a voice agent off of that. And I've been with Noelle since day one. So it's almost been 15 years that we've been signed together. It's been great. Wonderful person to work with. Noelle Jenkinson over at AMI.
Right.
Yeah. She was great. She still is great. And I kind of fell into it. It took a long time to figure out how to break through in animation, though, as it's a very different medium. I would say the best characteristics come from like theater, in the sense that you have to create everything around you. Whereas on film set, I guess with the green screen nowadays, it would be similar because you do have to create so much of the vision around you. But when you're coming up with a cartoon, you have to figure out all the soundscape you need to do too. So you read through all your stage directions and you would intuitively think, oh, all of this is animated. I don't have to do anything. But what separates you is when you can make sounds that will fill that space. So the animators go, oh yeah, this is when they get punched. And this is when they dip down. And this is when they do that. Because that specificity really helps in the creation. And it can help you stand out too in terms of other people. Because if you can fill out a whole soundscape, you go, I don't even need to know what was written down on the page. And I got exactly what the action was that was happening at that time. I understood the story. And so that kind of is something that took a long time to learn how to do. Also learn what's the appropriate amount of energy. A lot of times people come in with too little energy into animation, but mine was the opposite. It was way too big and I had to learn how to bring it on back down. Certain shows you can go really big and crazy, like certain kids shows, but most of them, for me, I have to dial back just because it's like I would envision it to be over the top. And they go, no, you can take it down, 50%.
Well, yeah, with animation, it's interesting because when I'm doing some of the classes, they say actually a lot of them wanted to be more real and less in your face. I'm like, but
yeah,
I love in your face. So it is.
And there's a market for the in your face, but there's also a vastly growing trend where they want more realistic reads. It really depends on your age category. I mean, and by age category, I mean the category of the show, not the performer. So if it's a preschool kids show, you have more leniency. If it's an adult cartoon, it really depends. They may want completely flat reads, or I've done other ones where, like I'm on a show called Doomsday Brothers, which is on Adult Swim. Everyone check it out. It's Canadian Adult Swim. Good stuff. We don't get a lot of those kind of cartoons here. Yeah, check it out.
Yeah.
But that one, it was all, so the main leads had kind of, grounded reality voices. But then I played a bunch of secondary characters. And, they were all the way down here, like one's a giant gelatinous human blob, and the other one's a really over-the-top rock and roller. So I get to live in a crazy, weird world where some of the other ones have to, carry the show, so to speak, with the tough stuff of being funny while not ever actually doing funny, get to do the funny, zany voices. It's hard to be the straight person in the show. And by straight, I don't mean sexuality. I mean I know. Straight person in the old. I'm clarifying for other people, making sure that we're on the same page. I know you know. But the
But I
straight
do
person
agree. I
goes
think
back
it's
to the
hard
one
to
being
pick.
Sorry?
Yeah, oh, there's a delay. I realize there's a delay, so I'm not going to talk over you. But it is hard. The straight character is the hardest one to play because I'm like, I want to do the fun ones.
Yeah, the fun one's more fun, generally. But, you know, someone does have to take all those big lines of exposition where they can further the story so someone else can jump in and throw a non sequitur that's really funny.
Well, it's actually the hardest role because you need those characters to allow the zany characters to exist.
100%.
So, yeah.
Yeah, if everyone's zany, it doesn't work.
No.
You know, so it's fun that way, though. I've been very fortunate.
Your favorite character? Do you have one? I mean, it's such a hard. It's like, what's your favorite movie? What's your favorite show? But is there one that resonates more with you?
I always kind of go back to Jimmy Two Shoes because that was the first cartoon show I ever booked where I was more than like a one-off character or someone who appeared maybe 4 times in the whole series. So I was Jimmy in Jimmy Two Shoes, and that was really a big moment for me. Because, you know, the first time you get to play a lead role is really kind of cool. Like, it's really neat. You're like, I'm going to be on TV, and that's me, and I play the title character. That's so cool. But at the time, too, I was still working as a waiter or a server in a restaurant, and I had come to a real crux where I was at the callback for Jimmy Two Shoes. I think it was like the 3rd callback. And I remember being really, really stressed because they ran long. All callbacks and auditions run long. But, I mean, this one was long, like an hour and a half late to even get into the booth. And I remember I had to get to work. And I was calling the boss of the restaurant being like, I got to go. And I need to come in late. And he goes, you can't. If you don't come, I'm going to have to let you go. And I was really stressed because everyone's, you know, still have to pay bills. And I look over at this other very seasoned performer. He looks over at me and goes, are you seriously thinking about leaving this callback now to go to work? It's you or Sean Cullen for this role. That's it. There's nobody else up for this role. You're never going to get a better opportunity than this. Would you just go in, quit your job, man? And I was like, no, I can't quit my job. That's crazy. He goes, do you want to be a server or do you want to be a performer? And I said, fine. So I called and quit. And then I ended up booking the show. But it was scary.
Oh, that is terrifying.
Yeah, so there's nothing quite like saying, yeah, I'm not coming in. Well, we're going to have to let you go. Cool. Oh, you need me in the booth now. Let's do it. And, of course, Sean Cullen ended up booking the main villain of the series, and he was hilarious. But it was one of those moments where it was like you're sitting there on the precipice. Do I go? Do I not go? And there's just some, you know, wonderfully talented performer who didn't have to give 2 seconds of his time to try to talk me off the ledge on it. But he just goes, look, what do you want to do? Is it you want to be a server or a performer? Well, shit, when you make it that simple,
yeah.
I just make my decision. So it worked out, fortunately. And then, you know, it's still work, but it's been fortunate that I haven't had to have any other job since. And that was, I don't know, 13 years ago? No, 10 years ago? 12 years ago? I don't know. I have no sense of time anymore.
But I just can't imagine going into that audition knowing, okay, I quit my job. I have to get this, but no, play it cool because I still have to don't put the pressure on myself, but also I need this. It's terrifying.
Yeah. When you need a role, you reek of desperation. Every performer does. We're all terrible at it. And it's, as a director, having sat on the other side of the table,
it's fun to watch.
Someone who really needs that job, it's a very unattractive thing because like, oh, this is too much. So it's really nice. You got to shed that at the door. No matter how bad you want this role or how bad you think you need it, which you probably do, you got to drop it at the door and just come in. It's just that same thing. Don't bring your home life into the room with you for the audition or for rehearsal. So it's the same thing. I got to drop how much I want this, let it be, and then walk into that booth and just absolutely lay it all out there as best as I can. Not easy.
Peasy. No.
Yeah, not easy, but no. It is something that I would highly recommend for everyone is just leave it at the door, go in, and just let it fly. See what happens.
Yeah, this is a very interesting comment. Did you play a Farmer Francis?
Sure did.
A request.
Hey there,
here.
Zachary. How's it going? It's really good to see ya. Hi.
Wow. Okay, so that's 3 voices you've done already. We were not prepared. Oh, I also have a question.
Yeah.
Oh, this is fun. No, these are like people are sending me questions. This is exciting. Right. Okay. What would you say was the hardest role you voiced? Oh, good question. Thank you, Abby Draws.
I think the hardest role I had to do was Mike from Total Drama Island because he was a character who had multiple personality disorder. So I ended up playing, I think it was, Mal, Manitoba, Mike, Svetlana, Chester, Vito, 6 characters. So I had to do voice all 6 personalities. They all had to be different. But it is shifting voice references. It wasn't consistent. So every time you came into the booth, you were getting kind of different notes about how to change. And it was like, I just barely got my footing, and now you want to change this. And it happened for it was a process of a show. I liked it a lot. But also wanting to make sure that because this character had multiple personality disorder and it was not even remotely accurate multiple personality disorder, how can you do something that's fun, that can live in the realm of cartoon and animation, but still not at the same time offend someone who is actually suffering from it? So trying to hedge in between that zone of fun without it being a comment on someone who may actually suffer from it. It was juggling a lot of balls, 6 characters, while dealing with all this other stuff too. It was like, okay, this is it. And joining Total Drama Island, I don't know if you've ever seen the show. It has a huge following of fans who are very, 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 very passionate about it. And it's great. But when you go into something knowing that there's going to be a lot of people who are very invested in the show, and you can kind of see your arc, and you're like, they're going to love this character, or they are going to hate this character because it's such a deviation from everyone else. And he had the romantic angle in the show, because the show is, the demographic loves a good romance angle. So you're also the romance angle in it as well. And it was interesting. It was a lot of balls. And then in the next season for that, they added a new personality, which was the villain of the whole series, of that whole season. So I had to be the hero and the villain and the love interest. And juggling that one was difficult as well. At least I felt grounded with the original 5, but the new villain one was constantly like they wanted to tweak the voice, and it was just interesting until we finally settled in one and was like, good, can we never do another note on this? Because there's 26 episodes and I can't keep doing a new take every time through.
Yeah, I mean, that's like, do you record one voice at a time, or do you change them through? I don't know how it works.
Usually, so the common practice is you'll just do one character swath through the whole way. And by the way, there's no one usually in the booth with me. I'm usually by myself, so there's no one feeding you lines. You just have to create your own pretext, so to speak. So you have to, how would someone else say this line, and then react to it, even though there's nobody in there at all reading you the line.
That's weird.
Total vacuum. So, sorry, where was the question starting with that one again? I totally went off on a tangent.
Oh, no, in terms of if you create one character at a time or all of them. So
usually you'll do all the one character one way through. That one I asked if I could take a pass at doing all of them at the same time. And so there is actually a big chunk where they fight each other. In one of the episodes, they kind of have like an inner mental battle. And that was one pass of me doing all the characters at the same time, talking to each other. And that was kind of cool. And now I try to do that when I can, because, I mean, it's a skill. You just have to work on the skill set till you can like flip on a dime in between characters.
How do you work on, do you just talk to yourself at home? How do you?
Yes. My kids.
Cool. So I'm already training for being a voice actor.
Yeah, you're fine.
I always talk to myself.
Look, if you're not talking to yourself and you're a performer, you're not doing enough work, because you got to do it. You know, talking under your breath is great, but there's so much that only happens when you let that breath out. You're like, oh yeah, I can be angry on this line, or I can let some of this out, or, you know, that cuttingness. You can only do it at the proper volume. So talking to yourself, it's like if you're a singer, right? You can't, I'm going to sing this note, I'm going to sing it like this. You got to sing. The only way you can know if you're going to do it is to actually sing it. So my kids kind of are driven nuts. And when we read stories, they say, no voices, Daddy.
I was wondering that. Okay, what story time with Cory? Like, is that just no.
They don't like it. But I mean, it's just like if anyone's parent had a job, I'm sure whatever that job is, it gets old. You know, do your kids watch the shows that you animate? Yeah. Not like. And do they realize it's you? Okay. Sorry? Do they realize it's you, or are they just? Yeah. So most of the time they can pick me out. Like sometimes they'll watch a show and they'll wake me up and be like, "Dad, I think you're on this show." I'm like, "Yeah, that's me." I won't lie. I've probably told them I'm on the show like 15 times ahead of time. They're like, "Yeah, we get it. We got it. Thanks, Dad."
I don't know about you, but I would collect all the memorabilia of any character I would ever get that. Like, do you have a bunch of Jimmy Two Shoe memorabilia?
Well, there wasn't a lot.
Well, we should make more.
Yes,
Okay.
I have a mouse pad of Jimmy Two Shoes. I've got a couple posters. I have a big poster in the basement where the kids' room is, and I have it up there, and I call that the Jimmy room because I say it paid for it. It's not accurate, but I like to think that. I struggle between wanting to have that memorabilia and the hubris of having toys of yourself. I struggle with that a lot.
Oh, okay. I don't know. For me, I don't think the struggle would be. I would just like everyone. This is all your birthday gifts. You're getting this.
No, I did that once. So my daughter really liked this one show I was on called Petunia, which was a really great show on Netflix. Check it out if you have any preschool kids. And they made some toys of that, and I did buy them, and I got them for her for Christmas, and they were so poorly made. They broke on the first day, and I mean into pieces. And then so she's like, "Oh well, we'll just throw it out." And I went, "Oh, but that's the only toy I have of me. I think I'm gonna have to take this back from you and glue it together if that's okay, honey." Because it was so poor quality.
I don't mean to laugh.
Preschool kids demographic, and all these toys shattered in seconds, and I mean shattered, broken, like super glue them together.
It's like a borderline lawsuit. Are we?
Not at all.
If you're looking for okay, and I'm just like, who can we sue? I have nothing to do but time on my hands right now. Okay, but that's really terrible. It's a preschool kid, and you're just when toys break in your hand, but that's not. It's almost as if you're seeing a character lose their head. When you would go to the theme parks and the character,
their heads had to be glued back on the body.
All right, so don't buy those ones. Noted.
But you know what? The plush dolls were great. My niece has one, and she really liked it, and we sometimes would have to call in the voice to say it's time to go to bed. Yeah. Sammy Stretch says it's time to go to bed. Okay.
Wow. I don't even I love these voices. This is so cool. Okay. You're just like whipping them out. I'm like, oh God. That's
Hey, Canawitch89, how are you? Long time no see. I can see the comments coming in.
Yeah, I was like, okay, you're getting shout outs, and I'm pretty bad at them, but you've gotten some shout outs, some highs. I think there was an inside joke about an Amigot, the three Amigots, why that one wasn't your favorite show to work on.
I loved Three Amigonauts. That was awesome. I had such a fun time on that one. That was a great show. That was so much fun. It was a strange one, because they did 3 different pilots, like demos, small things to sell it. And on each one, I played a different Amigonaut. And then the show got picked up, and I was none of them. But I did get on the show, playing kind of like the semi-villain, like the foil of the show. And they were so lovely to work with. I loved it because the scripts were very funny. They had hired really good writers. But B, they gave a lot of freedom in the booth. And I got to tell you, it was awesome because they let me riff. And there was this one weird part where it was just like in the script, it just says Cory sings. Because it was like this, supposed to be a really embarrassing moment for the character. And so it's like they put in a video, it was supposed to be him proving that the heroes had committed a crime. And he goes and puts in the video and it's him singing to himself, like at a talent show prep. And so they're like, yeah, sing something. I went, sing something? Okay. What do we do? So I had just been watching Arrested Development again, and I was like, the mommy's boy thing, it was so funny. So I was like, oh, what if we do this? And I was like, I'm a daddy's boy. You really love to be a daddy's boy. So we did that. It made it in the episode, but then they plopped it in a couple more episodes whenever he was too high on himself, like it would appear on the screen. I was like, that's the greatest callback ever. I can't believe you guys put that back in. So it was really, really funny, and it was just a total random improv thing.
But do you do improv as well, or
great
is that
show.
part
That
of it?
was so much fun to work on.
Is improv? Yeah. Like, do you have an improv background, or are you just like, I'm funny, so I'm good?
Yeah, I did Second City training. I've always done improv stuff. I think that's just kind of how my brain works. I've never been a professional improviser. Like people who improv is their job, that's their calling. They're way more talented at it than I am. I'm a good improv person in a booth. I'm really good at taking someone's script and tweaking it in a few spots where I think the character can have little things here and there. But if I was to go on stage and like, hey, here we go, this scenario, I'm not nearly as good at it. I like the framework, and then I can go play in it. But bringing it all together, that's another art form, and I have utmost respect for all of them because they're very, very talented. And I've got to work with a lot of our top improvisers in Toronto in the booth, and they're good. They're very good. So it's interesting. You're like, oh, yeah, we have similar skill sets, but I wouldn't want to go on stage with you because you'd eat me alive.
It is terrifying just kind of going out there and, okay, I have no script written. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. Yeah. Total credit to being able to just step out there and go, all right, what are we doing now?
But there's a confidence as well. And I went to see, back in the day when I would support my fellow actor, and they would just go up, get suggestions. Here you go.
Yeah.
Ah, okay. I mean, you don't have to prep or rehearse, so that's kind of nice. But I guess they probably do prep.
I don't know how much prep one does, but definitely the chemistry between people is big. Because then you get that shorthand language. You know, they just kind of know, oh, this person's going here. I'm going to take the opposite role so we can play off of each other, and then we'll do this. Because it's always about creating conflict and stuff like that. You need to find reasons for why you're talking and why there's an action. So even though we go back to the old theater stuff where we talk about stakes and the importance and the stakes in the scene, even in improv, you got to find a reason why there's stakes. I mean, sometimes it's just like, oh no, there's zombies outside. What do we do? You know, like it could be that random, but there's always got to be something, some reason to talk.
Yeah. Well, now I feel like I should raise the stakes in this interview. What's the reason? Yeah. I did see something very interesting. Did you voice something on Blue's Clues and the new one? Okay. Yep. Have you ever watched the original Blue's Clues?
Yes.
Okay, so for me...
So I have seen the original Blue's Clues.
But it's different. And my brother grew up, my youngest brother loved it. So I knew all the Blue's Clues, mail time, whatever. And then I see the new one. I'm like, what have you done to mail time? What is happening? I just wasn't ready for a change. That being said, I mean, I love the voice of Blue. I just think that's a great series of Parks. But it's just, I wasn't ready for the shift. And I don't know. That's just me not accepting change. But that's...
It's always interesting because it's tough when you already have an impression of something, because then you always have to meet it. And that's, you know, when anytime someone reboots or wants to do sequel to something, it's tough because you have to meet expectations but then exceed it. But for the kid who's watching it for the first time, they don't know anything. And watching some of the originals, it feels dated to them, right? Because the quality of maybe the animation is just so much superior these days. I mean, even low-budget animation is still way better than what we watched as kids. You know, if you ever go back and watch, like, even Transformers or G.I. Joe, you're like, ooh, that is a rough cut. That's not very good. Oh, you used the same background for 7 scenes because you clearly didn't want to pay to do another background. I was working on George of the Jungle. I was George of the Jungle for 1 season. Oh. And I remember talking to our voice director, was also one of the animators way back when. He worked on Rocket Robin Hood and the old Spider-Man. And what they would do is walk across the hall with the backgrounds so that they could take the show from one to the other so that they could save costs. And some of the villains were the same. So if you ever watch Rocket Robin Hood and the old Spider-Man, and you'll notice the backgrounds are identical and that some of the villains are completely rehashed, the henchmen, because they would just take the animatic and walk it over. And then they'd put it into that show because it cost so much money. And it was like, oh, it makes sense. Like, yeah, that's why you wonder why Spider-Man's always shooting into this purple sky and he could swing along, because they just didn't want to draw new backgrounds, so they would take it over from Rocket Robin Hood.
I love this little behind-the-scenes tip. I now have to watch both those shows and critique accordingly. That's amazing. Oh, I'm getting so many voice requests. Okay, Mookie from Redekai?
Oh, my God, that's an old one. Let me see.
Ooh.
I can even remember how Mookie talked.
What's Mookie like this? I think Mookie was. Oh, we'll get them, the Redekai. We will win.
I think that's him. That's a while ago.
I'm going to say bravo either way.
Sure, we'll pretend that was close enough. It's been a while since I did that show.
How long ago? How do you remember the placement in every character?
I don't.
All right. I don't. I'm just, that's the voice.
No, I don't remember. I think that was that one. That has to be at least 8 years ago. But they always have voice references for you, so you can play it. They play it ahead of the recording, so you can hear it and try to find your voice again.
From you. Wait, okay. Instead of like
Oh,
Sue
yeah,
Rosa from
there's no way we could possibly remember some of them, because, you know, like on one show that's on TV now called Power Birds, I think I'm like 4 or 5 characters per episode. I have no idea who the heck I'm supposed to be on half of them. So
you're a different bird every time?
Pardon me?
You're a different bird every episode?
No, I'm the lead, one of the 2 leads, and then I play one of the main villains, but then there's like interstitial characters, secondary ones that pop in, and you're like, I can't remember what this person sounds like. So they have to play the reference. You go, oh yeah, I remember this now. Now we can go.
So once you're there doing your lead role, are they, oh yeah, we need a side character, can you throw it in? Or is it, hey, will you also do these side characters? How does that work?
That depends on the show. That depends on their budget, and that depends on your maybe skills as a performer, or maybe resume as well. So sometimes there's lots of performers who will come in and they're going to get 3 characters, and you can just bank on it. And the reason is, if you do multiple characters, the production company gets a bit of a discount on it, so they save money. And then they don't have to go through the hassle of doing mass casting for every character. Because if there's a character in for one episode and you spend 15 hours auditioning people, that's still a lot of time. If you go, yeah, we'll just, you know, this guy's coming in next week and we'll just give him 2. Because we know there are some performers who their skill set is very wide. You know, they have a lot of vocal range, so odds are they're going to be able to find something pretty quick to fit that bill. And then other shows, they audition every single side character. It just depends. Yeah, it depends. So yes, there are many times I'll go in and they'll just be like, oh yeah, we're going to give you this one in addition to. But that's after over a decade plus of, you know, working on your craft and establishing that you can in fact do that.
Mm-hmm. It must be nice though going in for those voiceover auditions, because wear whatever you want. That for me, I don't know if it's just a woman thing, but I'm like, I love not just going in. I'm not going to go in pajamas. I'm going to look like a human, but just the casualness of like just hair, whatever. I don't care, but I look a little professional. But the element of it's really just your voice I like that.
Yes, that's great. That is a very nice thing. I don't ever have to shave or worry about anything like that.
Keep your hat on.
Yeah, I can keep my hat on even in the booth if I want. I would caution, though, the one thing is where you say they don't care what you look like. We still have a vast disparity. We still have a vast gap in BIPOC performers being represented in animation. So while we could say it doesn't matter what you look, apparently it does sometimes. And it may not be how you aesthetically pleasing you are. It may have to do with your background, and we need to find a way to change that.
Oh, that was a good point.
Yep.
Thank you for bringing that up. I appreciate that.
No problem.
It's
a real thing.
This is like, let's get real.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you think with artists that we'd move past this, but we have not moved past this, and we need to do more.
In Big Mouth, I think they replaced one of the actors. So now it's hard because I know everyone's trying to make those changes, but I guess I don't know why it's taking. I mean, I don't know. Hopefully, continue to make those changes going forward, but seems to be.
Eventually, maybe we'll get to a time when you can have absolute colorblind casting, when nothing matters but the vocal quality or the character they create. But we're not there. You have to have a proper amount of representation for you to get to a phase where you can go, okay, great, now we can go colorblind, because you have to show that it can in fact happen. And it's very clear that we're not there at all. We're not. I mean, the fact that Cleveland was voiced by a white guy this entire time and no one had a problem until this year, you're like, and that character was such a terrible stereotype too. You're like, that's awful. That's just awful.
I mean, it's funny. I'm like, so when I hear the Jewish characters, I'm like, I know they're not Jewish because that's not how you say that word. But it's completely different from BIPOC, but I always think that's so interesting. I can't imagine like finding out we need someone Jewish to say this word. I feel like that's so weird for me, but it's completely different. I think for BIPOC, they need more representation, but that kind of thing, I think, maybe I should be offended. I don't know. That was a poor. Yeah.
We're all allowed to ask, did we be offended? That's fair.
Yeah. I think I haven't really, I'm just like, I watch it, I'm entertained, I don't overthink it. But now I think everyone's questioning status quo, and that makes me think, and I have time to think now. I think, I should probably consider this more. Yeah. And this is why we have the meetings. There you go.
Yeah. No, it's a valid point. Something to think about.
Yeah.
We're not there yet.
Mm-mm.
Well, let's segue off that fun topic.
I know. I was just like, how do I segue off of this? God, Cory, you really put me in a spot there. Okay.
Oh, hello, Joanne Borum Casting. How are you, Joanne? Hi, Sharon. How are you?
There's also going to be a delay if they say hi. It's fun.
That's okay.
They're
here, and that's what matters.
The future of theater. How are you feeling? God.
The future of theater. I'm so unqualified for this.
Also, wait, why are you directing and not performing? Have you ever performed in theater?
Yeah, I used to do theater as a performer. Why do I direct it? I like having a little bit of control and artistic output on things. As a performer, you get to create your character, and you get to, there is the act of creation, but you're also always within someone else's confines. You're always within someone else's idea or framework. And I just really, I've always directed since even high school. Not well. Certainly needed to hone the craft quite a bit and, eat some humble pie and realize a lot of things in life, and that's good. But it was also, I like to have a little idea where it's like, I vision this very differently, and I would like to see that come out. And it's nice to have a little more say in what you're doing sometimes. It's also way more work. There's often times when we're in like tech week and you're directing, you're like, man, if I hear a performer complain again with the amount of work they have to do, it's like, that's great. But everyone on this side of the table has been busting their ass infinitely more the last 2 weeks on this one. So it's good to see both sides, because then you can have a more appreciation for, like, my appreciation for stage management is so deep. They are so invaluable, and rarely does a performer understand it. Really understand the work that stage management puts in, or how integral they are to a show. All of those aspects are so vitally important. So I think it would be great if everyone kind of dabbled on all sides of the table a little bit more, so they can understand how the whole thing is put together, and it gives you a better appreciation for the work and effort that goes in for people.
I didn't realize how important a stage manager was until I had a good stage manager. And I'm like, oh, this is what they do. Yeah. Wow, this is a hard job.
Yeah, they changed it entirely. It's a lot. Such a thankless job, and producer too. That's another thankless job where you go, nobody wants to do it because it's so difficult. And you have to deal with so much stuff. And at the end of the day, everyone can, be upset with you somehow because, we didn't get this money, or this wasn't arranged this way, or that wasn't done that. It's tough. It's tough doing theater. Has a lot of moving pieces, and it is really a group work together. And where do we go for the future for theater? I don't know. Theater.
I wanted to throw out a hard question. We're doing hard topics apparently, so let's throw it as well.
I don't know where we go in the future. Online stuff is going to happen. I don't think we're going to lose that now. Now that anything to do with online or social media presence, once it gets a foothold, I don't think it goes away. Period. Mm-hmm. Because of the convenience for it, for the accessibility for it. Just accessibility alone, where you may have a theater where it's inaccessible for anyone with mobility issues. There's a lot of theaters where nobody can get into the space at all if they have any mobility issues, or you can get like 2 wheelchairs or a walker somewhere in there. But this opens it up for so many people. There's a lot of people with social anxieties who would love to go see a play, but sitting in a group of people is a horrifying prospect. So we can add lots of opportunities for it. Where do we go, though, with live theater? I adore the presence of an audience. Being able to hear reactions from people, and when a crowd is engaged, how wonderful that is from an experience. As a performer, if you're doing something serious and you could hear a pin drop, oh, that's gratification. That is good. That's some good stuff. It's like, I'm nailing it. This is fun. Let's keep going. Or if you nail a laugh line and everyone is, having a great time, you're like, that's fabulous. I don't know if we will ever be able to replicate that quite the same. So I think we will, but human beings instinctively want to be around each other, as we found out by how horribly bad everyone is doing at their restrictions currently. Otherwise, this pandemic would have been over a long time ago. So we need to be around each other.
Yeah.
And so I think we will get back to live theater. How much theater is left after this? I don't know, because it's going to be absolute carnage. If a theater company wasn't supported through this, they're probably toast. I know a lot of community theaters have bit the dust, unfortunately. Some of it through poor management ahead of time, because if you didn't have any surplus of funds, you were dead. And some of it just through extreme unfortunate nature. I mean, what if you were, for instance, I was directing Cabaret, and we were halfway through rehearsals, and we did a 6-hour dance choreo call, left the rehearsal unit, and an hour and a half later, the show was done. You know, because COVID hit.
Is it done? Are you not bringing it back? I was excited to see it.
No, it's done. It's toast. It's gone forever. It will never come back.
Really?
Well, I mean, it's been over a year now. It's not. I have no spiritual engagement to do that again now. You know, you work that hard. Everybody works that hard, and then you can't get anywhere with it. You'd have to start from ground zero, and I don't know. It's like breaking up with an ex. You don't really want to go see them again. Except it wasn't a breakup. It was just one of those. They moved away. It's like, yeah, but I don't want to do this again.
It's a long distance relationship.
But I mean, if you had a show in production, you lost all your costs to that. So I mean, it could be, because theater isn't a money-making venture, really. For whatever reason, in North America, we don't treasure the arts unless it's on TV, and then we'll pay an exorbitant amount of money to watch something that has absolutely no soul to it. But you can go watch theater and be like, that was the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life. But you won't really pay for it unless they're singing.
I love a good musical, so I'm a little biased.
Right.
Yeah. It's so funny though. I was talking, I'm like, what musicals do I actually, if musicals were to be put on, what would be the first happy musical I'd want to see? Because some of them are so serious, like, you know, Cabaret doesn't end on like, yay, life at the cabaret, let's party. Yay! But I don't even know what people would want to see. Would they want a more realistic one, or would they want something happy-go-lucky? I don't know. So I was curious about that.
I don't know. I imagine people want to laugh. I think it's
I think like Avenue Q
want to watch
comedies. That's a safe, yeah.
Yeah, it's a safe bet. I don't know if I want to go cry my face off or anything like that. But then again,
you did a great production. I think that was you. You and Sabrina were involved in the spelling bee at Hard House.
Yep.
Was that you?
Yeah, that was
so fun. I loved watching that. Oh
well,
my goodness. I've never seen it before, and I live close to Hard House. I'm like, I'm going to support people. And I'm like, what is this musical? It was so much fun. So I love Sabrina's choreography. It was just great. And all the people, I haven't actually been exposed to those actors before. I'm like, who are these people? Where'd they come from? It was
very talented.
Such a fun evening. And they involved the audience, and I love that stuff. They're going to spell. It was really fun.
And we had some very funny nights. Anytime you have audience participation, things can go very differently than you expect. And we had a couple times. I mean, we had some audience members who thought they were part of the show. By the end of it, you're like, no, you're not written in. You're on stage on this part, but now you're supposed to leave. We also had, at one point, one of the musicians had a what is it called? An assist animal. I'm butchering it. A therapy animal.
Yes, something. What is it called?
I'm forgetting the term. Either way, it was they had an animal that helped them, and the dog wandered on stage during the middle of the show. Just walked right out on stage, a dog, for no reason. I got a text to my parents. I got into the show that night, like, why is there a dog in your show? Like, there's no dog in my show. What are you talking about? And then I read the production notes from the SM afterwards and was like, yes, the dog, one of the musician therapy's dogs walked on stage, and we had to find a way to get it off. And I was like, cool.
How did you get the dog off? How does that? Okay.
I think one of the characters just walked over, grabbed the collar, and walked them off stage. But there's a non sequitur, and they're like, that was really weird. And I'm like, that was not a choice. I do weird choices, but that was not a choice.
Oh, that's fun. I see, and that's why live theater needs to happen, because of those stories.
Absolutely. Oh
my God, dog. Wait, so the dog, was that a dog allowed back? Was it not? I'm just curious about this dog now.
I think the dog was
maybe the dog wanted to be
leashed
in the
and
show.
attached to a chair after that.
I like to think that the dog, this was their one chance to be in a musical.
Oh,
and they've been waiting for their moments. And that was their time.
Yeah. Well, that dog is famous now.
They owned that little walk across the stage.
Yeah. Well, all through rehearsals, never moved, nothing. And then randomly in one performance on like week 2, that walked out and stared right into the audience.
You know what happened? They had fellow therapy dogs in the audience that night.
That's it. They were looking for a friend.
That's what happened.
That's it.
Guys, I swear I'm in the show. I'm helping. That's all, folks. And we'll walk off.
Have a good one.
That's it. Oh, that's fun. Oh, any other fun stories? I love fun theater stories so much.
I mean, there's, being on stage and then the other performer not remembering they had the scene to be in. I've done that, unfortunately, too, where you're like, oh, crap, I think I missed something. What was it? I did one show where the other performer took practical jokes just a little too far. And we were supposed to do a side-by-side scene where we were both on stage, but we were talking to each other on the phone. And I was already on stage doing dialogue, and I pick up the phone to call him, and he comes on stage, and he's just in his tighty whities and an undershirt with socks, like knee-high socks and dress shoes on, and trying to have that conversation while seeing them out of the corner of your eye. And you're like, this is impossible. So I corpsed on stage and, of course, turned around upstage so I can just try to recover. And I was like, this is awful. Why are you doing this? It has nothing to do with the plot, and you're just killing it. But it was one of those where you go, that's too far. That's too far.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
what was the show that the audience wouldn't realize something was off?
Oh, it was a bizarre show.
Okay.
I don't think it was the weirdest part of that show.
Okay.
But, yeah, it was funny. But it was one of those as a performer, you go, yeah, okay, let's never do that again, please. That didn't work.
That didn't.
I didn't work.
And we get through the scene and we never do that again. Cool. Great.
Yeah,
awesome.
It was cool. You got it. You did it. Let's move on.
That's
so funny. Yeah, weird.
I don't know. Okay, so never show up on stage in that. Fellow performers don't appreciate that. This is good life advice, I think.
Yeah, no, usually your fellow performer doesn't appreciate when you make them corpse. I get that it's a game, especially as a long, long run of a show. You have to find ways to keep it fun between yourselves. Especially if there's like one line where someone says it every time and it sounds horrible, or we both know the double meaning to it and you're trying to keep that straight face. Those are okay, but purposely going out there to sabotage someone, I feel, is maybe a bit far.
I mean, maybe you should have been prepared. I'm throwing that out there.
Clearly. Yes, this was my fault.
That's where the improv training.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, that's fun. What else can we chat about? Anything else interesting going on in your life right now?
Yeah, I'm in lockdown. It's great. It's so much fun.
Yeah. So, a lot happening.
Yeah, I'm out every night, just partying by myself.
Are your kids being homeschooled? Partying by yourself?
Every kid is being homeschooled currently.
I thought some of the schools opened up.
Yeah, I think the North opened up last week, and then all the rest of them are going back tomorrow.
Oh, tomorrow. Oh, okay. Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah. Let's see how long this lasts.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just, I always think about if I was homeschooled, like, are there just more ways to cheat on tests? Are they more engaged? Are they
far less engaged.
Is there any learning actually happening? I'm very curious about that.
I don't know. Yeah, there is. Look, let me first put this out there. I think the teachers have been put in a horrible position. They have been put in a position where this is ridiculously hard. The expectations on the kids and the students is off. I think at a governmental level, they have failed our children utterly. It's embarrassing, and they should all resign. Fact. Yeah, and then moving back March break into April, just so you can make sure that kids hit right at the crest of the next wave is just such a great idea. Even though everyone is at utter mental exhaustion. We keep talking about mental health, and then we ignore it completely. Everyone is fried. We're all fried. But kids are fried too, because guess what? They're kids. They're kids, and they have to carry around the fact that they live in a pandemic. None of us ever had that. We don't have any idea what it's like. And we struggle as adults. Guess what? Kids struggle too.
I don't even know how I would explain that. I said, I was talking to my husband, we don't have kids, and I don't know what I would do with the kids that are just there all the time. And I don't know how to entertain them at this point. If it's been a year, I think you've gone through your Rolodex of voices that they don't want to hear. So
Yeah.
I don't think I'm
Yeah,
done.
I mean, it gets to a point where it's just more video game time, and it sucks. But I mean, I don't even know what to do anymore. We're all kind of run our course, as my parents like to say. Oh, we could have done this, and I go, guys, I've spent more time with my kids in the last year and a half than you spent with us in a 10-year period, and just sheer number of hours of even being in the same room, we have beat you. You have no idea. No parent, no one who isn't a parent now has any concept of what it's like to actually be around their kids this much. Everybody needs a break from each other.
Well, that's the thing that's ridiculous. I mean, you think about older generations and they've survived wars and everything, but this is such a different type of challenge. And I don't know how I would explain the pandemic to people. Oh, yeah, there was this time where we couldn't leave the house. Oh, okay, that's like just watch a lot of Netflix. Yes, but
yeah, but you mentally deteriorate. You feel like your brain is atrophied, and you're sitting around here going, "How do we get out of this?"
I'm just like, I guess I'll create a chat and talk to people. I don't know.
There you go. Well, there you go. I mean, it's different. I'm not trying to compare this with having to fight in a war, but we also have 24-hour news pumping nothing but negativity and misinformation down your throat. That it's very hard for people to understand what's real right now.
Yeah. Well, we are doing I thought this would be a nice light, and we're just hitting a lot of
Well, we got a question in the chat here from Joshua Fortune 146.
Oh,
what is your favorite character you ever voiced? Well, I had a lot of fun with Donnie from Three Amigonauts. Really liked Mike from Total Drama, Jimmy Two Shoes, as I said, because that was the very first one. And then I've had a lot of fun. I love animation. First, let me be very clear. I love my job and I love working in animation. It is a lot of fun. I have a lot of passion for it. So it's very rare that I don't enjoy thoroughly doing a character. Recently, I did a show called Ollie's Pack, and I got to play a four-legged space cat named Captain Wowski, and that was a lot of fun. I got to be Captain Wowski, and he was a really cool cat, and I got to improv a lot with that one, too, with some super talented performers. So we had a blast. We had a lot of fun. That one was one of the rare ones where we record ensemble. So we were all together all the time. So some of the riffs were hilarious, and they were very talented people. So getting to play together was a lot of fun.
That's so fun. Wait, so it's called a four-legged space cat as opposed to a three-legged?
Yeah, correct.
Okay, cool.
No, sorry. It was a four-armed, two-legged. I can't remember how he was exactly.
I'm like,
six limbs.
Cats...
Six limbs in total, not four. I don't know why I said four. 6 limbs in total. Space cat with a beard.
Okay, I'm thinking, don't cats have 4? But I don't know, because a friend of mine has a 3-legged cat, so maybe.
Yeah.
And then
no, it was a 6-legged cat. My apologies. A 6-legged space cat who was helping protect the universe.
It was actually 8 legs. It's an octopus cat, so.
There you go.
Yeah.
Octocat.
Wait, so Jimmy Two Shoes, 2 as opposed to how many shoes?
That's a great question. We never once addressed it. Nor how this child was in hell. We never addressed that.
Okay.
He was the only person in hell who wasn't supposed to be there, and we never once addressed it. It was a Disney. Disney ended up buying the show, and Disney wanted nothing to do with hell, ever.
Yeah,
even though people were Disney. Demons. Okay. They clearly were visible demons. We called it Miseryville, and even though the villain name was Lucius, as in Lucifer, still never once actually addressed the fact of why this innocent boy was in hell. And that's fine. It worked, though. The comedy was great.
Yeah, you don't need to... Context doesn't matter.
I don't think so.
Yeah, it's fine. If you could write your own animation, what would it be? Oh, that's just one that came to me.
Ooh, I would think it would have to be something along the lines of Archer or Rick and Morty, something like that. I really enjoy those types of meta but really nicely scripted shows. And still give it character. One of my middle sons, one of his middle names is Archer, so he's been named after the cartoon show.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Does he know that?
Yeah.
He does now. Okay.
He does. Listen, they've all been named after something, and so they all know where the names come from. So.
Ooh. So always cartoon based or no?
No. Some either musicians, literary figures, something like that. So. But I won't go through the names. I'm going to keep my...
No, keep it private. That's fine. what if you end up not liking that person that they're named in the future?
Well,
if you base it on some, well, too bad.
Tell you what, and my wife's tradition, they had 2 middle names, so they can pick out of, they got 3 names they can choose. If they feel like have an identity crisis down the line, they got 3 wicked names they can choose from.
The 2 middle names. My brother-in-law has 2 middle names, and I find that so interesting.
Yeah, I think in certain cultures, that's a traditional thing.
Yeah, that's middle names. Do you have a middle name? You don't have to tell me. I'm just curious. Okay.
It's Cory.
Cory?
No, my first name's not Cory. I've just never in my entire life gone by anything other than that. You can ask my parents. I don't know why. They named me and never called me the first name, ever.
Okay, I did not expect that response, and that was amazing. Wow, I would not go by my middle name, but that's, yeah, you look like a Cory. That's so interesting.
Well, I mean, it's not like it was ever a choice. I've never, ever, ever gone by the other name. I know the government's calling when they ask for that other name.
That's so interesting.
Yep, and that's the only time.
So it's still your legal name on all your government documents, right? Okay.
There you
As
go.
his sister,
As his sister-in-law, I can
you.
confirm. That's right, Sharon.
She knows. Okay.
She knows.
So wait, so on your wedding invitation, was it just your middle name?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is just like, yeah, I go by Cory, whatever. It wasn't formal. Okay, that's so interesting.
At least I don't think it was. It was a while ago.
And I just think of something, a formal occasion where people, you know, because let's say I'll give myself a nickname. Let's say I go by Rob sometimes. I never do. But then it's on the Robyn on the invitation. Okay.
Yeah, but it's not a nickname. It's not like it's a...
Yeah, it is your name. That's so...
it's not like it's an abbreviated, like your name is Elizabeth and you go by Liz. It's not something like that at all. It's a completely different name. I don't know why. It's never made a lick of sense to me. But it is what it is.
This is why, like, I'm just saying, if your parents were on, we could get some clarification. That was...
Look, it sounds like they would be hippies, but they're not.
I don't know.
Something like some...
I love the conviction of, you know what? No. Screw the first name. We're going with the middle name. This is who he is. He is Cory.
Yep. Yeah, we're going to make things very confusing, and then Cory Hart is going to be a very popular singer at the time. Yeah.
That's fun. That's fun.
Yeah.
Oh, this
so,
is...
whatever.
Yeah. That's
they
okay.
made that Simpsons episode where they talked about Cory Hart, and they called that hotline. Remember, Lisa got addicted to the Cory Hart phone line? And she would call, and it was like a pay per call, and all they would do is say words that rhymed with Cory. So it would be story, allegory, and that was like my favorite episode ever. And it's like the only time the name Cory is ever used.
I mean, maybe it should be used more often. We're just going to get your name out there.
Yeah, that's right.
That's... Shout out to... There was a show called Two Corys, and I know this because I'm chatting with Corey Haim's sister, I think.
Wednesday. Corey Haim and Corey Feldman, right?
Corey Haim. Yeah. And I thought, that's so fun. I haven't met only a couple of handfuls of Corys, but they know each other. I'm like, that's fun. Okay. I don't know.
Yeah,
I know
but those
Robyn,
Corys have an E in their name, so it's totally different.
Oh, it's a complete... Hey, Robyn with an I is very different from Robyn with a Y, so I get it. We're just different people.
It changes your whole personality right off the bat.
100%. I don't do the I with the heart over it. No, I do the Y with the fancy little squiggle underneath.
There you go.
Yeah, I don't really fancy squiggle it. Oh, hey, Jill. Okay.
Hi, Jill.
I just like to say hi to people now. Okay. Oh, that's funny. I like the 69 after the name. That's fun. Okay.
Very mature, Jill. Very mature.
She could have been born in 69. Maybe. I'd like to think that.
Wow. Wow. You're throwing it out there, huh? Ooh, making friends or enemies, I wonder.
She looks so young, though, so I don't know, actually.
I think you meant 89?
Yeah, that was me. I'm 89. But, oh, wait, I'm going to share more personal information.
Nope.
It's pretty much out there online. It's fine. Okay. All right. Is there anything else that we should chat about, or should we end this? Because I'm pretty bad at it, so.
I don't know. It's your chat show.
I know. I have so many questions, and I'm just so excited you're here. But I don't want to ruin, how are you celebrating your family day? Because I don't think you have enough of your family yet. So.
Yeah, we have family day 365 days a year currently. Tell you what, next family day may be different.
Maybe.
This one right now feels a lot like yesterday and the day before.
I love that this is the holidays so much. It's
holidays have no meaning. Nothing
it's
has
also,
meaning
it's
anymore.
true, right? To a point where I don't, well, even certain days that I'm thinking, do I get a card? I mean, we're here, we kind of like, gotta, Happy Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's
It's
fun
very
time.
interesting. Yeah.
Cool.
Cool.
I don't know. Do you have any more animation questions or anything like that?
I mean,
anyone in the chat?
Pardon? Oh,
I
anyone?
said anyone
Yes.
in the chat? No?
We had some fun ones, though. I've never really used the question box. I used it once before. That was exciting. You're a very popular person. How does it feel to know that you have a very large fan base out there that you aren't aware of?
Doesn't feel like that's the case, but I appreciate it nonetheless.
Everyone was I got so many messages like, oh, I love Cory. I'm like, it was very fun. Okay.
Oh, that's great. It's very humbling. It's fantastic.
Yeah. So next project, are you still doing Jimmy like from your booth or?
Oh God, Jimmy Two Shoes has been done for over a decade.
Oh really? Oh
yeah.
Okay.
We got 2 seasons out of it, but that was a long time ago.
Wow. Okay.
Yes.
So just
now,
kind of...
I'm recording. I don't know if you can see here. I might take you on the journey here.
Fine.
Hold on. What do we got? Let's turn on a light. So here's the microphone. Very nice, fancy microphone. My laptop. This is the booth. You're just in a booth. It's a big moving blanket booth.
Wow.
You don't have to spend a ton of money to make one of these things. You just need the space and the ability to not have too much outside noise bleed in.
I love that you just need the space. I live downtown, so yeah.
I know it's not easy and it's not equitable and it's not equitable for everybody. Like there's a lot of performers who, are moving their clothes over in the closet and putting up a whole bunch of styrofoam where they can or whatever. It's crazy times.
When did you invest in the booth? Like, what was the voice gig you got that you're like, okay, now I have to get the booth?
It was called the day after Cabaret was canceled with COVID. I went home and said, we are making a booth in the basement because this thing has gone to shit. The whole thing is going to shut down, and I need to have a booth ready. So while everyone else was scrambling to make a booth, I had already made one. And there was absolutely no work to go along with it, so it didn't really matter.
Well, I feel like auditions are coming out now-ish.
Oh, yeah. Things have picked up. Yes, things have picked up. But that stretch of April, May, June was so bloody desolate. It sucked. Yeah. Wasn't a very inspiring period of time, was it?
Probably not. No. I don't. It's such a distant memory that we're almost, because it's almost March soon. And it's like, oh, so then I can't say this time last year, pre-COVID. It's this time last year I was at home.
Nope. Everyone is going to have hit at least one birthday in COVID.
I'm okay. I mean, I'm not really one for birthdays, so I was okay. That was actually a high, like when I don't have to do certain events, I'm like, cool, it's my birthday. Okay, thanks for the wishes and no pressure. I celebrated it. I'm done. But are you a birthday guy? Are you like, I have to celebrate my birthday kind of thing? Go all out? Party?
I like birthdays. It depends. I like socializing. I like hanging out with friends. I don't know if it's necessarily birthdays or... Like, my birthday always falls around the Super Bowl. So, and I'm a big football fan, so it kind of works out that way. I don't know. Like, my daughter's the day before mine, so my birthday stopped having any meaning the day she was born. Because it's all about her now, as it should be.
That's it. That's a good dad. There you go. Good parenting.
Yeah, I can live with it. It's fine. It's more like Christmas when you're in the pandemic, where you can't go see grandma and grandpa, and the kids can't do this and that, where you're like, yeah, that's what stings. That sucks.
I think that was definitely a hard time for people.
Yeah. Keep doing it, people. We'll get through this. There you
go. I like that. Okay. We got this. Hang in there.
Yeah.
I don't have any inspiring words.
No,
keep
not
chatting. Okay. Yeah.
It's been over. It's been a year now. I'm toast with inspirational stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, put your head down. Thank God if you can work and stuff like that, Just anything to distract the mind. I mean, it's different for everybody, I would imagine.
Yeah.
We just got to remember that some people are having an okay time and a whole lot of people may be having a tough time. I think once this is over, though, we are going to have one hell of a reckoning with PTSD of people being locked up. Like, we're going to have just mass congregations of people like, I don't know you, but I'm going to touch your arm because I need to feel human contact. Like, it's going to be some crazy stuff.
I'm laughing, but like that's a
lot
thing.
Of babies. Yeah. A whole lot of babies at some point. It's just going to be like the largest generation ever. The COVID clan.
The COVID clan. I'm a COVID baby. That's a badge of honor.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I know. I'm like, is it? Said it.
That's what people think of is like, yes, when my parents had sex, that's the time of honor for me.
That is, I don't know. Any kid kind of does that math, and then they wish they hadn't done the math. I'm like, oh God, was I a birthday gift? Like, a little weird.
Oh my God, Uncle Tom's birthday. Why?
What's the significance? I don't understand. It's very uncomfortable.
Yes. Too funny.
Yeah, that's what I think about in my head. Cool.
Hi, Robert. Hi, Kiki. How are you?
Oh, yeah. Bobby! We did a show of company together. That was...
Did you?
Yes, that was fun.
Oh,
I got
he's
to
fun.
be...
He's
so fun. He's the best. Oh, that was a fun
Very
one.
talented individually.
Very talented. Let's just talk about Robert behind it now. In front of him, I guess, if he's watching. I don't
Let's
know. Maybe...
do it. All right.
Okay.
He's handsome. He's talented. He can sing.
Beautiful, lyrical, very lyrical voice.
He is majestic on stage. Some say he glides, but I say he glissods.
He's Oh, that's fun. Oh my God.
It is what it is, right?
It is. Oh yeah. So question. So you were doing, and then I'll let you go. So you were doing a lot with Scarborough Music Theater. I never get the name. SMT.
I think you got it. Yep.
I did. Okay. I never know. Musical theater. Yep. And then you did the lot. Was that in like why the lot versus SMT, or did you do both of them? I don't remember.
No, I've directed with lots of companies. I just have worked with with Scarborough Music Theater several times. But I've worked with Lot. I've worked with Hart House quite a bit. Done independent theater. You don't. If you're a director, you can't just work with one company. You have to. All of us, just like performers, right? We all have to. We're all independent contractors.
So you just pitch and hope your pitch work. I don't know how directing works.
Sometimes you pitch. Yeah. Okay. I mean, there's a lot of pitching when you're a director. You have to pitch your vision of the show. And then other times word of mouth can happen too. So for instance, Lot had reached out to me about the producers.
Oh, cool.
And then, talk to them about what your vision for it would be. And I enjoyed working with them quite a bit. And wonderful cast, like a lot of really good, super, super talented people who should probably doing way higher paying gigs.
Like Robert.
Yes.
That was a shout out to Robert again.
It's a ridiculous business trying to get your foot in the door sometimes, It feels like once you reach a threshold, you're pretty good, but getting through that threshold can be so tough. But no, I love working in different spaces too. I mean, SMT is it's got the thrust stage. So there's audience on three sides of you. And directing for that is very confining. It forces you out of your proscenium mold, but then at the same time, after you've directed on it for a while, you're like, yeah, I'd love to go back to a proscenium stage because I'm really tired of making people walk down here to do this, to walk over here, because you have to force movement on the stage and you have to be able to give blocking to all three sides of the audience. Yeah. And there's only so many tricks you can do. So eventually you're like, yeah, I'd love to go back to something where I don't have to worry about the 3D element quite the same. And you can create more pictures that way when you've got a proscenium stage. And lighting is a whole lot easier on a proscenium stage. And lighting is very, very important, especially in musicals. I mean, lighting is so key, right? It helps change every mood right away with a different color change. You're like,
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, or you can drop little nuggets about where this character is eventually going to go with color schemes. You can do a whole lot of stuff. So yeah, working with different companies. I mean, I'd love to work with everybody at some point in time. But I'd say with this pandemic, and with being around the family and everything more, I don't know if I'll be going back to theater for a while. I think it may we'll see, because I don't think theater's coming back for another year anyways, at minimum. Yeah. Like, really. I mean, someone's going to try to put on a show too soon. And I know there's already been someone in Hamilton tried to put on a show, and I believe, and it's extremely unfortunate, the wardrobe designer, the costume designer passed away from COVID because of it.
Ooh.
So don't do a show. Not yet. And then I don't know how intrigued, like, if we're really honest with ourselves, the main audience for most theater is of the elderly variety. And I don't know how comfortable they're going to be going into a crowded space.
Interesting.
I don't know anything. I don't have any clue how people are going to respond coming out of this. And whoever says they know is selling you a false bill of goods, because we don't know what it would be like after a year of, I mean, you can call this trauma, right? What are people going to want to do? What are they going to prioritize? What do they want? Maybe theater will bustle. Maybe everyone will be able to open, like when we get out of this, if it's so unfortunate if you have a restaurant, you're in such dire straits right now, but
Yeah.
there's going to be a huge renaissance of people opening restaurants afterwards. I mean, there's going to be that void, and people will fill in that void. And there will be for entertainment. I don't know if it's going to be theater. I mean, people are going to go see concerts. I bet you they're going to go see concerts for real.
Yeah.
But I don't know what else everyone's going to be doing. I don't know. It's I hope people will be back to theater. I imagine people will be back to music theater because people love to see song and dance. And, you don't even have to follow a plot. Just it starts moving you and you're loving it. It's human. We love rhythm and we love music. And even if you don't like music, you'll still move to music. And even just playing like a major chord can make you happy, and a minor can just hit, sad tones for you.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just so great how you can manipulate the human mind that way with just music. Whereas with a play, you have to be able to really sit down and go, okay, I'm going to give you my full attention. And if you look away and read the program, you're lost for a bit. But if it's music, I can't ignore the music. I can look away from a performer, but I can't ignore the overwhelming music. So I don't know. Hopefully we get to go back and really have
we have to go
invest
back.
more in the arts, because guess what? Everyone is consuming the arts like crazy right now. Everyone has eaten and devoured everything that can be streamed. That's still the arts. So let's support them a little bit more. The fact that musicians are sitting here unserved purely because they can't play any music, or they have to find neat ways to do like these chats and whatnot. But how do you monetize that in a way that can be a livable wage for an artist?
Oh, I'm making a lot of money on this chat.
I know, right? This is what we're talking about, though, is how do you make a livable wage as an artist in this country where we have other like European nations where the minimum living condition for an artist is something you could live with. It's really hard to make art when you have to make money, because so often you have to break yourself down, or break down, say you're writing a script, you have to break it down into its ugliest pieces to put it back together, and then you break it down and put it back together till you get the final product. But during that time, you can't make money off of it. You already have to have accomplished something to then get the funding to continue going forward. So it's very hard for people to break through these days. It's very, very hard. But you have the online social media stuff where you can make a killing. Some people can, by just getting their outreach. Like some of these YouTube channels, how much money they make for the content they put out, but I mean, they get a view. There are opportunities. We just have to find new ways as artists to be able to make that work. So I don't know where, but there are opportunities out there.
Yeah. I mean, again, it's just finding, I guess, the right thing that works for you. I don't know. I have no idea what I'm doing. So I'm just like, yeah, that sounds very good, Cory. I don't know.
Yeah.
Make a YouTube channel that people, I always marvel at the people that make money. And I'm like, why is anyone watching this? And okay, sure. Each their own. Everyone has their own demographic and audience, but
we've all gone down the YouTube hole, though. The rabbit hole where we sit there and you're like, I've watched an hour and a half of this. I feel like I've learned almost nothing, or I have some really cool Easter eggs for the new WandaVision episode, but that's about it.
Oh no, I hope we get to go back, because I was saying on another chat, I'm like, if anyone gets a chance to audition for Scarborough Music Theater, it is so fun. I just go there to have fun.
Yeah, come on out and have fun.
Your audition process is like you bond with people. I made I have Facebook friends from your audition process. Like, it is such a blast. You're such a fun group of people that I just that's what's so missed. And even when there's these online auditions now, it's so different than those in-person fun vibe.
Yep. And you know what? It's all the way up. Yeah. For community theater, yes, 100% all theater. But even here, like, I'm recording by myself all the time. I don't see anybody. You really feel disconnected. Or if they're like, oh, we're just going to put you on hold for half a second. I can't see them through the glass anymore. There's no human interaction. And it feels so disjointed, and it feels like a lot of I don't want to say the love is gone from it, but some of the magic is for sure distilled greatly because of this. It's very different. Yeah. So yeah, I can't wait to be in a group of people again and be able to connect and look someone in the eye and be like, oh, I know where you're going with this kind of a thought. Yeah, let's play this thought. Let's do that. Or being able to give a read, but like not a read because you don't want to do a line read, but I mean like a redirect, and watching that person do it. And like, yeah, this is great. Let's continue this redirect. Whereas it's very hard over a laptop to do a redirect, because you can have a technical thing where you're waiting for a delay. Waiting for a delay is hell. That 2-second gap. Like, oh my God, we keep talking over each other. This sucks. Or you can't see their face, and they're like, yeah, it's like this. And it's like, no, I don't know what that means. I can't see you. How can I know what that means?
Yeah.
And then you realize that, oh man, we as a species communicate so much through visual component, like a face. It's like, it's like this. And you're like, well, I may not get what this is, but I can, at least it's a starting point.
Yeah.
So it's very different. I can't wait for all of us to be back, to be able to see each other.
For sure.
Hey, Julius Cho, how you doing? Julius Cho is a world famous actor as well.
Oh, hello.
Mm-hmm. Of Bakugan fame.
Okay, I think you've done about 12 voices in this, and this is amazing. I need to. Do you just whip voices out from note? You're like, I don't know, this one should, or do voices like? Do you get inspired by actors?
No,
do
for
these
sure.
Voices,
oh
okay.
yeah, for sure. Like Hank Azaria says, he said he does a lot of impressions. He just does them so poorly they come as unique characters, right? I mean, if you look at his mayor from The Simpsons, it's a really bad John F. Kennedy.
That's true.
It is. Is that guy over there? It's a terrible John F. Kennedy. Everyone does horrible kind of things. I'm always trying to work on it. Like for years I did, younger kid roles to like teens, and then you want to expand. And I love villains. I love playing villains because they're so cool. Mm-hmm. And so it was like 4 years showing them that I could, but also working on being able to hit the lower tones without destroying your voice, because you have to be able to replicate it. I believe fully if you cannot replicate that voice for hours and then do it again the next day, you shouldn't be doing that character voice. Because I work with people and I can hear them and I go, oh my God, you're trashed. How can you possibly work tomorrow? Yeah. Let alone have a gig after this one today. And if you're, getting successful in animation, you're going to work multiple times in a day sometimes. And you have to have that vocal strength. And so I treat it as if I'm a professional, singer. I always do my warm-ups. I work on my range all the time, but then I kept working on my lower tones until eventually I can do the deep ones like this and never lose my voice. It's just you learn how to do it. You have to find that way to manipulate your vocal manifold so you can continue to do this without destroying yourself. You want to do the Harvey Feinstein from Fiddler on the Roof. You got to find your way to do it without hurting your throat. Now, this sounds like I should destroy my throat. Now, I'm not going to sing like this for hours, I'm going to tell you that. But I could talk like this, and as long as I've drank enough water ahead of time, I make sure I don't have any dairy, I could be able to pull this off, for quite a long time. And do it again the next day tomorrow. But you got to prove to yourself you could do it. And you need to make sure that when you audition for it, I can replicate it. Because if you lose your voice while recording, they don't want to hire you again. They don't. Because they go, well, this person doesn't know how to do it. Like, you shouldn't be presenting incomplete characters in the first place. Yeah. You can hear someone on the second line go, 1 second. You're like, oh my God, we've got 200 lines more to go. How are you going to pull this off?
Yeah.
So vocal health is very, 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 very key.
I'm feeling very inspired right now to just own my bad impressions and make them characters. I love this. That's what I'm going to be working on for the next year.
Perfect. Terrible impressions, and never tell them the source material.
Of course not. No, this is
never. Because they're like, is this a bit of this? And you're like, sure. That makes it better for you? Yeah, go ahead.
Of course.
Sometimes someone will be like, it sounds like they're a bit like this character. You're like, yes. Meanwhile, in your head going, I have no idea who that is. Not a clue, but it moved the conversation along.
That's smart. I like that. I would just be, see, okay, tricks of the trade. I like that. Okay. Yeah. This was great. I love chatting with you. Thanks for doing this, Cory.
My pleasure.
And enjoy the rest of your family day and life. Oh God, I have to work on a sign off. Peace out, homie. I don't know, man.
Peace out, homie.
That is what I'm sticking with. Thanks.
Bye,
Cory.
everybody.
Bye.
All right, bye, Robyn.